Let's bring in journalist and commentator Ala Ibrahim, who joins us from Syria's capital, Damascus, to get some thoughts on this. Ala Ibrahim, it's very interesting. The U.S. President Barack Obama came out on Saturday talking about chemical weapons, wasn't unsure of the reports. Then on Tuesday, he said that we don't even know where this has originated from in terms of whether it's the Syrian government forces or these insurgents. And then, last night, which is 2 days after that, Chuck Hagel, the defense secretary, coming out saying, you know what, we're rethinking arming the insurgents. What types of messages does that send?
Well, I think this is related to the ongoing negotiations between the global powers regarding the Syrian issue or the Syrian file. Obviously, there are some kind of ongoing dialogue between the Russians and the Americans on how the Middle East will look after the end of the Syrian crisis. Obviously, many people have now come to the conclusion that President Assad will not leave his office anytime soon, and that he is staying at least till 2014, if not longer than that. And I think the American statements reflect two things. First, the ongoing confusion related to the Syrian crisis since the beginning of the events, actually. One day they say they are with the opposition. The second day they say they are with the moderate factions of the opposition. Then they say it's the radical factions who control the ground. So there's a great deal of confusion in terms of all the Western powers' statements regarding Syria. And the second thing that these statements reflect, as I told you, is that there are some kind of every side is trying to pull strings to influence the other side. So the Americans are trying to send a signal to the Russians saying, look, we can go ahead and speak more about the chemical weapons thing and create more of a fuss about it to pressure the Syrian government. And it's all part of an ongoing negotiations.
And do you think that if, though they have not decided yet in terms of arming the insurgents, that they will actually go ahead and formalize it, though many reports indicate that they have already been arming the insurgents, whether indirectly through equipment or the funds that trickle down into the insurgents, perhaps providing arms for themselves?
One of the most interesting things that I read recently in Syrian newspaper is that there's an unprecedented hypocrisy in terms of the United States policies towards Syria. The United States, not only they have been active in arming the insurgents, maybe not directly giving them the gun, the firing, but the Americans have admitted training to the insurgents. They have admitted what they call non-lethal aid, which is communication devices, body armors, all important logistics for any fight that the insurgents are carrying out across Syria. So the United States of America is already very involved in the Syrian crisis. That in addition to the key fact that America's proxies, countries that wouldn't dare to breathe without America's consent, like this Saudi Arabia, like Qatar, like Turkey, they're financing and arming and supporting the insurgents with state-of-the-art weapons that they can get a hold of on the black market. So the United States of America is pretty much involved in arming the rebels. Maybe I think this is all part of a string pulling between the Americans and the Russians. The Russians know that the Americans are involved, but the Americans are trying to say we can make it more formal, we can give them more weapons. But let's face it, they're giving them as much as they can. The best weapons they can afford to give them without the opposition posing a serious threat on future interests of the Americans or the Turkish or any other country in the world. And at the same time, weapons that would ensure that they can go on fighting and destroying Syria.
Very well. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, Ala Ibrahim, their journalist and commentator from Damascus.